And here we are with a bunch of great practitioners. We have some hosts that are starting to shine and really shine that light for other people, which is that's the main key point. We're just holding up a light. Put the light on the throne. Do prostrations to the light. Make the light your guru. All right. So we're going to go back into the way of abiding. So just imagine, Buddha Shakyamuni, Guru Padma Sambhava, they were people just like you. They would sit on chairs just like you're doing now. You are Buddha. Got to kind of allow that, don't we? Mm-hmm. Remember, everybody, we're not trying to get anywhere. It's all right here already, underneath the searching. That's right, we're making awkward silence great again. Okay, I will begin. Let's just pick it up here. The way of abiding. Most of you know this. It's a yogi from the 1300s who has composed this amazing treasury of describing the free mind. And so let's go into it. Looks like we're coming up on some root verses where Longchen says, one comes to the decisive experience of the transcendence of the karmic consequences of positive and negative actions. So the root verses of the way of abiding say, the sun of ultimate reality, naturally occurring awareness, is obscured by the clouds of both virtue and harm, positive and negative, and obstructed by the lightning of obsessive efforts to accept or reject. With the continuous downpour of confused perceptions of happiness and suffering, the seeds of samsara ripen into the crops of the 6 kinds of beings. Alas, how worthy of compassion are beings tormented in these 6 states. So remember, the 6 states correspond also with Om Mani Padme Hum. So just saying Om Mani Padme Hum, you're dropping a seed syllable into each one of those collectives, right? And even within our collective here, you can see beings that are resembling the tendencies or seem to have the karmic relations to gods, to demigods, to humans, to animals, to hungry ghosts, to hell beings. Okay, the 6 states. I like this as states. Very nice. Because calling them realms makes it seem like a place that you externally go visit on your private jet to hell or whatever. You're not going externally anywhere. This is all the mind. And we can see people who are in absolute hell in their minds. We can witness that. So inductive reasoning would tell us, well, yeah, this could get a lot worse for people. They could spin in their own darkness for a long time. So can we go back up to the source verses, Yeshi? So it says here also that the view is obstructed by obsessive efforts to accept or reject, a continuous downpour of confused perceptions of happiness and suffering. And this makes its way into Dzogchen, at least people that call themselves Dzogchen groups. They want the high vibe and they think it's got to be happy all the time. And anything heterodox is out of the question. And, you name it. The slightest bit of insanity will ruffle the feathers of a person sort of attached to happiness, even though they're the ones that are insane. So here also, Richard Barron chose the word reality, which, this edition is from 1998. He may even agree that truth would be a better word there. So the sun of ultimate truth, naturally occurring awareness, is obscured by the clouds of all this stuff here, okay? So remember, if you have comments or questions, I'm okay with people dinging in. Just join on in if you have something. Don't force it, though. So let's see the auto commentary on the root verses. It says, in the summertime, rain clouds, lightning, and rain join together to obscure the orb of the sun. With the clouds, composite factors of positive and negative karma, and lightning, effort to accept or reject, rain falls as desperate experiences of happiness and suffering. With this, each individual's perception of the sun each individual's perception of the sun of ultimate truth, Dharmakaya, naturally occurring timeless awareness, is obscured. To one immersed in genuine being who has realized thatness itself, those who thus wander perpetually in samsara are seen to be worthy of compassion. I like how all his auto commentaries are ending with that, they're truly worthy of compassion, to ensure that we don't go into some kind of conceptual superiority complex or something like that. But here you have some information, some dharma. It says the son of ultimate truth, calling ultimate truth, which is bodhicitta, dharmakaya. And then karma, naturally occurring timeless awareness. So your naturally occurring timeless awareness is dharmakaya, is ultimate truth. There is no secret 10th yana. Sorry, Dorji Legpo. This is it. So I think we can go on here. It says Longchen is gonna cite this Great Garuda Tantra. And here we have the word groundlessness, by the way. We saw that in the Dijam Lingpa text, Buddhahood Without Meditation, as Shi Nid, which was unique. I hadn't always run into Shi Nid. I've seen Shi, which is spelled Gzhi, if you're not hearing that. But here we have, in the other text, we have a Shi Nid, which is this right here, groundlessness. Remember, that's the union of the three kayas there. And so, in groundlessness, uncontrived and free of anything to rely upon, assuming specific postures and trying to relax in lucidity, bind one to apparent phenomenon. If one's mind is not free of extremes and not unbiased, Mental analysis and speculation prevent one from experiencing the way of abiding. Wow, you have a mention of the title of this text, this treasury here, which was pulled from the Great Garuda. So something interesting. But remember, it says here, assuming postures and trying to relax into lucidity. This includes, in my opinion, the Togyal postures. It makes them provisional. Of course they are. So, but they get placed at the end for some reason, and I don't. Well, it's not our style anyway. So, relaxing into lucidity doesn't happen by trying. We all know that. It's by in our 10-minute sessions. This is why they're so special, is because we're all closer to that ultimate sun of truth, and whatever's coming off of us, like if I'm thinking about, man, I'm so worried about my job or something like that, how am I going to get money? And then you come here and now you're being asked to just do nothing, and you're like, all right, I'm going to try to do nothing here, but man, how am I going to get money? And so you're actually trying then to counter your thoughts about money or whatever your job, instead of just letting yourself sit here and think about your job and really begin to add self-awareness as an ingredient into that. So you know how this is making your body feel. This is changing the tone of your experience, right? And most likely contracting it or adding weight to it. And so you just let it be. You're sitting here worried about it. You let your nervous system come undone. You let the thoughts spin out. Just like a song in your head, everybody. It's exact same psychological process. That song has to eventually leave your head. You get sick of it. It gets played out inside of your head. So the same goes for any of your worries and your, whatever angst you may have there. Is that making sense? That just by leaving it alone, it'll expel itself, or it'll naturally settle in its own place, however you want to term that. Any questions so far? Yes. Hi.
I was wondering, when I am sitting and kind of coming into a more effortless abiding, I actually I feel that, I feel the sensation. I'm not thinking, or rather, I'm thinking, but thoughts aren't forming. I'm sensing, but feelings aren't forming. And I feel like kind of maybe a jumping back and forth in my brain, or kind of like an up and a down, a forward and backward. I was just wondering, is that an aspect of what you're sharing or what you're saying?
You mean oscillating between thought contraction and spaciousness?
I don't know if it's uh, oscillating between thought contraction and spaciousness. It just feels like movement.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Maybe movement and stillness?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's part of this path of very ancient psychology, stillness and movement. The thing is, we get carried away by the movements of our experience quite easily, and especially if we're accustomed, we're cozy with the movement of our experience, then it's gonna be like second nature. It's gonna be autopilot. We're gonna sink right back into a particular mood or a particular type of thinking that's, positive, negative, whatever. It's habituated, it's patterned, it's programmed. And so when we settle back into our programming, that has a certain tone, a tonality, but also a quality of weight, right? So, however we want to identify this, the contraction versus the freedom in the mind, and just seeing that contraction into moods, into perspectives, into cycles of thought. Just seeing is good enough. Um, so if you're just seeing right now that you're perhaps fluctuating in and out of this movement, is very good. I would say from the time you've been here and everything, it sounds right about right, because you're pulling out of the smaller psychic dimensions, right? Where you're in the movement of your experience or your thoughts or whatever. We can be stuck on a thought. We can be stuck on a mood. We can be stuck on a feeling. Think sexual sensations or even an injury. We get stuck on a bodily feeling too. And so we can isolate our entire mind, believe it or not, into one little set of thoughts or one little sensation of the body or something. And that's bondage, everybody. That is the antithesis of freedom right there. And so we can still have movement of mind. I'm having it right now as I'm speaking to you. But am I bound to what I'm saying? Not so much, right? So that's the difference maker. Is the glue there? Making sense, yeah?
Yeah, it's I there's no like I do have it where I have like tags and like my personal affect with my thoughts. Like they take actual form. But with this, it really does just feel like almost like a hand moving through water. And so there's no like descriptive, like there's no like substance to it. So it's kind of, yeah, it is kind of a form of emptiness. Um, like no images appear. I mean, they can, but that's not what I'm drawing into effect, at least when I'm sitting in like the effortless abiding. And so it just feels like a hand moving through water and making like little vortices and different changes in pressure.
Yeah, great. Uh, I would just, value that seeing that you're having over everything else, because it sounds like you're having such a profound vipassana there. It's going really deep into your own mind, and that itself is the key. That's the benefit there. And thank you for sharing. It sounds like a lot of good introspective science there. And remember, everybody, especially when we do thought experiments and stuff like that, if we have a thought like squirrels love trees, um, that thought right there, you could hear it, you could see it, you could see it in words, right? Like a sentence on a piece of paper. You could see the actual squirrels in the trees. That doesn't matter so much how the thought is presenting itself, because thoughts are on a spectrum, and all that's going to come together for you the more you see, witness thoughts, and perhaps even using these isolation techniques where you isolate a thought. You see how it triggers you, which emotions, how the body reacts with thoughts. Do you start assuming the position of a squirrel when you think of one? Do you start climbing trees? But it's true, certain thoughts can have physical correspondences, and just seeing that is quite valuable. So we'll just continue, just finishing this great Garuda section here. Again, we're reading from the Way of Abiding, but we're also getting to read from these great source tantras, the 18 root Dzogchen tantras. So yeah, trying to relax in lucidity, trying to relax in your whole mind is not going to do it. Uh, the freedom from our preoccupation is what allows relaxation into lucidity, as lucidity. So the doings have to stop, you guys. We have to try. What is it like if I retire right now spiritually, right? If I don't even try anymore at all, I have no path, no level, no nothing. And that may seem careless, but it's actually quite difficult for many people to get used to that, allowing that freedom. So that's why a lot of people out there respect us. We actually do have a lot of respect on the internet, and out there offline too. But it's because we don't just tell people, oh, do nothing. There's actually something to this. This is an authentic approach through authentic lineage. And so I'm very happy about that we've been online since 2013, and we have people just recommending all the time to come visit our group and all these things. It's because it's actually the truth. But it's not as easy as just telling people you're a Buddha, you don't need to do nothing. And you have people out there doing that. That's why Jackson Peterson got a bad rap online. And, people don't understand the power of online. Once you start going bad in the Buddhist forums and stuff like that, you'd be surprised how much that can affect you. So, I mean, I'm not overly worried about my reputation or anything like that, obviously. But I got love for the internet. All right. So here it says, I love that the way of abiding is mentioned for some reason. It's just I'm nerding out on that a little bit. But yeah, it says if one's mind is not free of extremes and not unbiased, mental analysis and speculation prevent one from experiencing the way of abiding. I mean, that's a title right there. Mental analysis and speculation prevent. And the irony of that is, in the way of abiding, you can still do mental analysis and speculation. So for all those people who really love their analysis, they don't have to abandon it. They just come into your whole mind. It's even more powerful. So it says, without the confidence that comes from resting naturally in timeless freedom, in which nothing need be done, realization is constrained by wishful thinking and fleeting meditative experiences. See, without the key point of resting naturally and not seeking anything, awareness is obscured by reliance on teachings that concern causality. Very good. See, wishful thinking, fleeting meditative experiences. Oh my goodness, do we get stuck on those? People will stop their path and write an entire book about some fleeting meditative experience that they had. And they want everybody else to have it, and then people get stuck on that one little thing. And they think that's it. That's the end. So very happy that was mentioned in the Great Garuda Tantra here. And it says the great master Hashang spoke in a similar way. And although those with less developed minds could not accept it at the time, in fact, what he said still holds true. This is kept secret from those who follow lesser spiritual approaches because their minds cannot encompass it. And were they to belittle it, the karma would cause them to fall lower and to lower states of rebirth. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this was a total different context. You got to understand this. Longchen is saying this here. I'm kind of surprised that we didn't get a quote from Hashang. Just kind of said, yeah, Hashang said that too. But that's okay. Now, remember, this is a whole different context in the 1300s where you'd be at a monastery and it's basically telling the people practicing Dzogchen, don't go down to those other rooms and tell them about Dzogchen because you're going to confuse the living crap out of them. And they may abandon their renunciation practices or their bodhicitta practices because they think they don't have to do anything. So it was in that context. Now, because of the internet, all this is already out there. It's being spoken to everybody who wants it. So we're in a totally different phase now. But it is, self-secret. And I still think that the four circumstances can be there of the right teacher, the right audience, the right time, and the right place. And there are people, that even come here, they will ask questions and things, and they don't necessarily get the pointing out right away. They get, provisional answers, maybe even once in a blue moon. It doesn't happen very often here, though. But there could be somebody that comes here and simply does not resonate with this approach and wants to keep on doing mantras and visualizations. And in that case, of course, I'd be happy to help them if they ask me about mantras, but I'd probably sneak a pointing out in there. Okay, everybody. Well, thank you so much for exploring this text with me. I do love so much hearing from the Tantras, um, these ancient scriptures that are related to our lineage, and all these yogis that have been working with awareness and taking the fruit as the path, and having this authentic liberation. The mind is very clear and open. They say a lot of times suchness, right? Or thatness was mentioned today. And when you say thatness, it almost neglects the luminous part, that your mind is open luminosity. So it's almost if light was thatness. If you could picture light being thatness, or even just tune in to clear light awareness right here, your entire being is thatness. Mm-hmm. And then you can begin to see the intricate, very, very high tech weaving in that we do into this almost like holographic prism of our mind. We begin to have co-emergences, appearances co-emerging in a kind of reflected way. It's very interesting when we start to see that multidimensionality of reality. So maybe that's going too far off the deep end, but that's okay. We're putting it out there. Thanks again. And are there any final thoughts, comments, questions before we close out today? You got it? Everybody got it, yeah? Got plenty of blessings today. Plenty of Dzogchen today, right? Yeah, I'm so happy that the sadhana, 25 people, that's how many disciples Guru Rinpoche had, 25. So what an auspicious number too. And we had a wonderful, wonderful Dharma day, didn't we? I appreciate you so much. And yeah, we're going out to our happenings or our beds, whatever you're going. I wish the best for you. And we'll just take a moment of silence for the dedication. Okay, deep bow, everybody. Take care. See you.